What's up, everybody? The 2024 NFL Draft is finally concluded, and we are going to look at the best IDP options for your team based on this draft. There is the ultimate optimism for most teams at this time of the year, and rightfully so. If you ask any of the 32 teams, I guarantee you every single one of them won the draft. We're going to look at the defensive players that can help your fantasy football team and truly show you how you can win your draft based on drafting some of these guys. Today, we are focusing only on the positive. We are going to bask in the positivity. We are going to be like these general managers that feel like we won the draft. We're only talking about the best defensive players in the draft. So here we go. Let's have a lot of fun and let's go win some leagues. The first player that I would like to talk about today is the first defensive player selected, and that was Laiatu Latu by the Indianapolis Colts. I told you at the beginning of this, I'm going to remain positive. We're going to have a positive feel in this video, but I'm not going to lie. I was kind of negative on this player going into the draft. He was medically retired in 2020, and that is a red flag if you have ever heard one. But for the sake of positivity, we're going to talk about why he can, if staying healthy, impact the team and help you win your leagues by producing stats. To start, objectively, he has all of the talent to be one of the best players in this draft, and he produced in college at a freakishly high level. He was the first defender selected for a lot of reasons, but I have to think that in 26 games over the last 2 years, he had 23.5 sacks. That is absurd. He also, last season, had a 26% pass rush win rate, meaning when he went one-on-one with the tackles, he won the play. And if you're beating guys off the edge, you're going to be successful in the NFL. Now, it's a whole new ball game, but let's keep in mind that over the past 3 seasons, he was a top 10 pressure guy in the NCAA, meaning over the course of those 3 seasons, he finished as a top 10 player in combined pressures for the opposing quarterback. I think he's going to be a good player. If he remains on the field, he could be a great player. And he should get on the field early and often. And if he can remain on the field, he will produce stats. There were also some very interesting storylines to break down defensively. For starters, we had a pair of Alabama edge defenders both taken in the top 3 rounds of this draft. The first one is one of my favorite players, Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner went 17th overall to the Minnesota Vikings, and he is going to be tasked with replacing the dominant edge rusher, Danielle Hunter. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, which is a staggering thing to accomplish in itself, and he dominated his combine. He finished as the top 40-yard dash guy and the top vertical leap guy of his position, edge rusher, which is a very athletic position, and he was the fastest. His father was a professional athlete, so I believe that he has the pedigree and the opportunity to already know how to be a professional. He has seen somebody do this. He understands what it takes to be a professional athlete, and I think that that's part of the transition to the NFL that will determine early success. Can he get into a routine? Can he get in a rhythm? And can he just forget all of the noise and play football? Well, we see when he plays football, he will be an elite level producer. And I believe all the minutia that comes with the NFL and becoming a professional, he will already sort of have an idea of how to handle, and that is big. Oh, not only that, he was coached by Hall of Fame defensive end Jason Taylor in high school, his exact position, and he was coached by a Hall of Famer at an early and impressionable age. I believe that Dallas Turner has all of the tools for success, and now he has the opportunity spot to produce with all of those productive tools in his tool bag. But let's not forget about his former teammate Chris Braswell, who was drafted 57th overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He could be the best athlete in the entire class. That's no joke. He was clocked last year at 21.9 miles per hour. Let me say that again. This is an over 250-pound man who ran nearly 22 miles per hour in full pads. If that doesn't impress you enough, then maybe his 705-pound squat will impress you. This guy is insane. One of my favorite stats is the 10-yard split, because these guys have an instant to get from the line to the quarterback. His 10-yard split was 1.59 seconds, meaning that in a straight line run, he got 10 yards in less than 2 seconds. This guy is an athletic freak. I believe that he will be able to produce immediately. And Just like Dallas Turner, he is a Saban disciple. Nick Saban knows how to coach these guys. He knows how to build a dominating defense, and he knows what players it takes to create this dominating defense. He led the SEC in pressures as a one-year starter. He got his opportunity to start in wake of Will Anderson, and he is the one guy that led the SEC in pressures. This is an impressive feat. This is not something that is just a production stat based on volume. This is because he is an elite player. Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner, the edge rushers from Alabama, will benefit your IDP roster, so make sure you scoop them up in your rookie drafts this season. From a pair of Alabama edge rushers to a pair of interior defensive linemen from Texas. The first one off the board was Byron Murphy II, who went 16th overall to the Seattle Seahawks. He had high-level college play. He was a second-team All-America, and he was the Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. He had high-level play. He should see the field early. There is a room crowded full of talent with Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, and Dre'Mont Jones, but I believe he was underappreciated due to the praise of his teammate, T'Vondre Sweat. The 38th pick to the Tennessee Titans, Sweat is prioritizing his weight, and in an interview, he called his shot. He said, quote, "If I go to 355, 350, most likely I'm going to be a Hall of Famer." You heard that correctly. He is predicting himself to be a Hall of Famer when he gets his weight intact, and that is a question right now. He is a highly acclaimed player. He won the Outland Trophy, which is the best defensive lineman, and he was a first-team All-America. This guy was incredible and produced really, really good numbers next to Byron Murphy. The interior defensive line of the Texas Longhorns was amazing, and I believe that with the draft capital invested in them by both the Seahawks and the Titans, Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat will be a great asset to your IDP roster so long as you give them the draft capital necessary. These are some of the bigger names at this position, so I don't expect them to be around for long, but I do believe you can reach on interior defensive tackles. Be careful when selecting this type of player, but if you're going to take a risk on two of them, the Texas Longhorn duo will be a great one and should pay off. It's fun to talk about the edge rushers and the defensive linemen who are tasked to go after the quarterback each week. I love talking about them. You love reading about them. We consume content all the time about these specific players. I believe a dying love is the linebacker position, the next level. Whoever dominates the middle of the field dominates the game. Winning the middle of the field wins you the games. It's because it's a position now that has extra rules for how you can tackle. And now with the inevitable hip drop being banned, there are other things going on that you have to be aware of. So when you find a linebacker who can think the game so much as play the game, you're going to get a good guy. And there are a couple of people in this draft that I believe fit that mold. We just got done talking about some college teammates going to separate NFL teams. Well, what if I told you that the Green Bay Packers selected two players from two different colleges for the same position in back-to-back rounds in the second and the third? The Green Bay Packers are going to transition to a 4-3 this season, which means 4 down linemen with 3 linebackers. They were drafted in the second and third rounds, first with Edgerrin Cooper at 45th overall, and then with Tyron Hopper at 91st overall. Edgerrin Cooper may be one of my favorite players in this draft, although he's not my favorite linebacker. He's going to step into the immediate first opportunity, I believe, since the Packers eliminated Devondre Campbell from their roster this offseason. There is an open spot, and you're going to have 2 guys go at it. I believe Cooper is going to get there first because of his production in college. He had 84 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 8 sacks last season, showing you that not only can he dominate the middle of the field, but if asked to pressure the opposing quarterback, he can take care of this as well. I believe that if you take him in your drafts, you will be successful immediately, or you will have a very safe floor in the minimum. Tyron Hopper may be a little bit more of a project, but he has the same opportunity going into this season as Edgerrin Cooper does. He averaged 5 tackles a game through his career, which is pretty modest, but it's not bad. It shows you that he has a tackle floor. Like I said, he's more of a project currently than he is an actual plug-and-play guy, but I believe if given the correct coaching and the right opportunity, he will be successful and he will be safe. His athleticism to this point in his career has gotten him to the door. Him learning the game and applying these skills will get him through the door. I believe that Tyron Hopper may be your late round sleeper guy who you can keep on the bench and eventually see some payoff if Edgerrin Cooper turns out not to be the guy. But either way, if you take a Green Bay Packers middle linebacker, I believe this year there's an opportunity for someone new to emerge as one of the top 15 linebackers in IDP this season. Last but not least, my favorite player in this draft was Junior Colson. Colson got arguably the best opportunity of any IDP in this draft, being taken by the Los Angeles Chargers and his former and now current head coach, Jim Harbaugh. Colson came from the national championship winning Michigan Wolverines and now will rejoin his coach in the NFL in the same scheme that he played for the last 3 years. He has the familiarity and the experience to immediately step in and become a day one starter and dominate the line. He was voted as the team's MVP, which is a big deal when your peers see you as the most valuable player on a national championship winning team. That shows me that there is a leadership, that there is a knack for the game, and an overall production that even your teammates can respect. He is a sure tackler who will provide enough coverage support to be able to do multiple downs, including pass coverage and pass rushing downs. He is a unique player, a Swiss Army knife, and he is going to be reunited with his college head coach. And I believe that that means he is going to be a high-level and productive starter when he gets on the field. All right, guys, that was the first 3 rounds, my favorite defensive players at the edge rushing, defensive line, and linebacker positions. I believe that these are the most important positions to build around in your IDP roster, so you have to start here when evaluating the rookies. The edge rushers are fine, but do not forget that a dominant middle linebacker is always the preferred position when it comes to my evaluation of the talent. If you have a safe tackle floor, you'll have a safe ceiling as well. And I believe that you win games understanding what your minimums are, not so much what the maximum values can be. But it's your team. You get the opportunities to draft these players. It is up to you to take all of this fancy, wonderful information and apply it to your team needs and your draft strategy. Thank you as always for watching this video. My name is Matthew Montgomery. You can follow me on all the socials at MattMontyFF. That's X, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, all of these fancy little sites. Let's connect, let's talk ball, and let's have some fun. I'll be having some articles coming out soon on footballguys.com, so make sure you tune in there as well and keep watching all these fancy, fun defensive player videos. Thanks a lot.